I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you'll please rise. We have Pastor Bill Franzen this morning to lead us in the invocation, and then Supervisor Gould to lead us in the pledge.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Supervisors, honored guests. Father, we come before you this morning, Lord, just to lift up this supervisor body, Lord, to you today. I just pray that you be with them and each of the guests, Lord, as they bring business up to the table. Lord, that the business will be pleasing to you, that the business will be what the county needs to take care of things, and it'll be peaceful and in order. We thank you for each and every one that is here. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have Supervisor Johnson on the phone, please? Okay, it's a little loud here. Okay. I need a motion to call for an executive session to be held January 6, 2025 at 9 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Official business to come before the boards. Number one, discussion of pending or contemplated litigation claims and demands. Mr. Esplin.
Good morning. We have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee and/or legislative report. Supervisor Lingenfelter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Earlier this month, I attended the annual Colorado River Water Users Association Conference in Las Vegas. It was attended by all 7 of the basin states, many of the 30 Indian tribes, Bureau of Reclamation, and all of the water users you can imagine from all of those states. Many of them were in attendance. The Bureau of Reclamation is considered to be the water master of the Colorado River. And right now, the Colorado River Compact, we're all operating under, expires at the end of 2026. And they continue, they being the 7 basin states and the Bureau of Reclamation, the tribes, continue to try to meet, to come to some sort of a compromise on how do we all divide up a smaller Colorado River post-2026. This last year has not gone well. There's been a divergence in opinion between the upper 4 basin states and the lower 3 basin states. The Bureau of Reclamation recently released 5 alternatives, how they're going to be looking at modeling the river post-2026. And really, we're just still hoping that there's going to be some sort of a compromise and not litigation. That would be multi-year litigation amongst the 7 basin states. So we're going to continue to be on the river. Our Mojave County Water Authority, our cities, Mojave County, Colorado River Indian Tribe, we had a good meeting with them. It's going to be really important for all of us along the river to stay close and vertically integrated so that we can make sure that we know that Arizona is going to have a cut in the total river water that we get post-2026. We have to try to work together and collaborate to make sure that the percentage of that cut on river is as small as it possibly can be. And I know that you're going to be involved in that too. And hopefully our federal representatives will be involved in that. Also in the water world, on the groundwater side, this last week, it was Friday, the Wilcox Basin, which is down in southeast Arizona, in Cochise County and Graham County. Arizona Department of Water Resources Director Tom Bashansky just declared that to be a subsequent active management area. And it was the first active management area to be designated with the powers that have been in state statute since 1980. In 2022, the Arizona legislature, they beefed up WIFA, and they also mandated that the Arizona Department of Water Resources come out with something called a supply and demand assessment on every single one of the groundwater basins in Arizona on a 5-year rotating basis. So in 2023, they published the first 7 of those assessments. Wilcox Basin was one of those. This year in December, first week of December rather, they publish the next 15. And then they have 3 more years to publish the remaining initial assessments for every single basin in Arizona. And then they'll repeat that cycle again. There was an election in the Wilcox Basin. If they wanted an AMA in 2022, that did not pass. And then the state, with the new data that came out and was published on the Wilcox Basin in 2023, they showed a groundwater deficit annually of roughly 100,000 acre feet a year. And when you consider, an acre foot is 320 something thousand gallons of water. It's a lot of water. It's like to put it into contrast, it's about as much water as the Tucson metro area, not just the city limits, uses every year in the Wilcox Basin. So they had that new data, and with the powers that are already in statute, and there's criteria about looking at a new AMA, they really did what's logical. And they looked at the data, they looked at the land subsidence, the land fissuring, and they declared this new AMA. Since 2017, Mojave County has been at the leading front of trying to ask for the state legislature to create a third rural framework that would be more customizable, have far more local control than an AMA. We continue in that advocacy. All of us in rural, we don't think that an AMA is really the best fit for some of these rural basins. So we're going to continue that advocacy in 2025, and really that's all I have. Hopefully we'll get to a place this next year in the legislative session where it might not be something that everybody loves, but it's something that everybody can live with, and it would be better than an AMA for the rural areas. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Gould?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to let the treasurer know that I'll be paying my property taxes today, so we'll be able to make payroll. Thank you.
Okay. Supervisor Johnson? Laura? Supervisor Johnson, are you on the line? Unmuted? Well, we will go on. Does it show that he's on?
He was on for a moment, but then he just dropped off. I resent him the link.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to him when he gets back. I have nothing this morning. I want to hand it over to Supervisor Bishop.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to take a point of privilege this morning and thank all of my volunteers that have served me over the past 10 years. I wanted to name them personally, the ones that are currently serving with starting with Tom Price, who serves on the Board of Adjustments. We have Byron Stewart serving on the Board of Health for District 4. For the Library Citizens Advisory Board, Mary Steller Carlson and Kathy Hauser. The Employee Merit Commission System, Cheryl Smith. Planning and Zoning Commission, Colin Patillo and Rex Rugi. For the SIREBT, we have Mary Susie Duranzo. And then the Extension Advisory Board, Christy McReynolds, Terry Hebrey, Susan Williams, Michael Gross, Andrea McCowd. And Public Lands and Recreation, your new elected supervisor, Don Martin. I also wanted to thank the county managers that have showed exceptional leadership over the past 10 years, starting with Mike Hendricks, who I just ran into in the parking lot a couple days ago. He's doing fine and enjoying retirement, which I'm looking forward to joining him. And then our current county manager, Mr. Sam Elters. Thank you, Sam. And then I wanted to also thank my past executive assistant, Marianne Salem, for the good years, and Linda Owen for her passion and commitment when called upon to serve when in my hour of need. I really can't tell you, Linda, how much I've appreciated your dedication, and I'd like you to come up front and receive a plaque of appreciation. And I wanted to let everybody know that Linda usually sits in the back row and tries to hide from the public. So to make her come up front and get her photograph taken with me is going to be a lifelong remembrance for us both. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Bishop. Okay, we're going to move on now. We do not have a lobbyist report this morning. Do we have a county manager's report?
Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. Yes, one item, real quick, and I think it's appropriate to do a year-end recap of the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA. As you know, next week is December 31st, and that was the deadline to obligate all the funds. So I'd like to have our Chief Financial Officer come up. We have only 2 slides, just to tell you where we're at, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Angus, board members. Let me get this pulled up here. That's not it. Okay, and as our county manager said, next week is our deadline for obligating all the funds. And so, as the board's aware, the county received just over $41 million in ARPA funds, and with the approval of all of the ARPA-related items that are on today's agenda, and there's 11 of them, which is the whole reason this December meeting was scheduled a little bit later to allow for this. Once all those items are approved, we will be 100% obligated as far as the ARPA funding that the county has received, which means that no monies should need returning to the federal government. So that's a good thing. As of last week, the county had spent about 67%, just under 28 million of the 41 million in ARPA funding that we received. There's a total of just over 90 projects that have been proposed. 38 of those have been completed, and about 50 or so are still in progress at this time. And I just wanted to highlight again that obligation deadline date is December 31st of this year, and then we have until December 31st of 2026 to finish spending the remaining funds. So all those projects that are still in progress, we have another 2 years to make sure that those all cross the finish line. And then this is just a listing of some of the things that ARPA has impacted around Mojave County, and as you can see, it's quite a varied list. The projects that have been proposed in all 5 of the supervisor districts have really been spread across the spectrum, and so just a nice snapshot to see just how impactful these ARPA funds have been. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just a simple statement to say thank you to the county manager and the staff. I know that with all these projects have been handled internally, and it was an added burden to all of you, so I just want to say thank you for the way you handled it.
Appreciate that, Supervisor.
I'm going to ditto that. It was a massive undertaking amidst all the other stuff that pretty much every staff member had their fingers on it at some point. So I want to thank you guys very much, and I believe that that money will be felt around our county at times generations to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
That was it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. So before we get to the call to public, I had a request to move item 42 up, which is about the call to public. This is brought by the Chairman-elect, Travis Lingenfelter. Discussion and possible action to approve an amendment to the Mojave County Board of Supervisors Rules of Order by placing the call to the public at the end of the Board of Supervisors agenda to ensure timely handling of required official public hearings and business items while allowing the public to participate in the call to public. And we do have people signed up to speak. We'll start with Armin Stang.
Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. I'm in Schlangen, Fort Mojave, Arizona, AKA the German. I don't know why you want to put the call to the public to the end of the meeting. Most people, they're here for the call to the public so they can inform the county of problems they have in their neighborhoods, in their county, and everything else. You know, most of them have jobs. They have to go back to work afterwards. They only have a limited time to be here. I think it should stay the way it is, and it shouldn't be moved. That is unfair to the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have Mr. Beffert. And next up, we'll have Mr. McClure.
Supervisors, for the record, Greg Beffert, and I've been coming up here for about 14 months now. Started off trying to hold you people accountable for your actions during COVID. Not just the elected officials, but the two bureaucrats over here who were equally responsible for violating the constitutional oaths that at least you people took during that time. It wasn't that you didn't have enough information, Supervisor Bishop. It's that you guys ignored the information that we were trying to bring forward to you because you were stuck in your echo chamber back here. That was the problem. And you tried to shut us out here at the beginning. It wasn't you didn't have enough information. You didn't want to hear the information that was contradictory to the narrative. That's the problem. This is about free speech. And it's been, ever since COVID-19, it's been stifled, whether it's censorship online or you can't say certain words or terms. I'm sure she's going to run off here to Phoenix, go through her rituals, scribble her name on a piece of paper to support anti-Semitic hate speech laws. That's what's coming. Then you can enjoy your all-expense trip to Israel, free. This is about censoring free speech. Moving this to the back is nothing more than that, disguised as best business practices. That's what it is. And people need to have a voice. You don't want to hear criticism. That's your problem. You don't want to hear the truth. You didn't want to hear about COVID and the harm that you were causing. And now the lies that have come out in the psychological operation that we know that it was. It's no different than the psychological operation that's going on in the Middle East.
I think we're a little off topic. This is about just the call to public.
This is my time.
Well,
Give it to me.
This isn't a
See,
call.
this is exactly what I'm talking
This isn't called
about.
to public, though, Mr. Beffert.
This is my
about
time.
an agenda item.
Yes, this is about free speech. And you don't get it. You don't seem to get it. So like I said, go ahead and go off and go
Just
scribble your
please
name on a
keep on
piece of
topic.
paper. Yeah, I am on topic. Don't interrupt me.
Excuse
I'm up
me,
here.
you're done.
No, I'm not.
This is not the call to public where I can't speak
I'm
back to
talking
you.
about agenda item 42, which deals with free speech.
Yes, please.
Madam Chairman, this is not called to the public, so you can interrupt him.
I did, I can.
I just want to reiterate,
Yes.
it's about call to the public, but this is.
Right,
not
this
call
is-
to the
yes,
public.
that's-
This is an agenda.
that's
item,
right.
so
I'm not-
We can also ask him questions if we so desire.
Right, that's true.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for the clarification. Just wanted to let you know, this isn't a call to public, so I can speak back.
You can't interrupt me, though. If you have questions, go ahead, but you took my time. See, this is what I'm talking about here. These are the antics and the tactics that you guys have been doing here. Some of you, not all of you, but have been pushing. And I wrote you a long time ago, and I told you that one of the best things that you could do here now is admit that you made mistakes. Forgive yourselves first, and maybe the people of Mojave County will forgive you. But you need to stop this. You need to stop this. Thank you.
Scotty McClure, and then Jennifer Esposito.
Scotty from Bullhead. here we are again, year after year after year after year after year, going after our free speech. Hildy, 3 or 4 years ago, I came to your office and complained about Buster Johnson moving the call to the public. So you were again, and you fought him on that, and we won. Now, then you tried to move it to the call to the public, to the rear end, or wherever you wanted to move it, to the moon or whatever. Sorry, I'm off the base here. But why do you guys keep going after this? You have a thing where Latowski and these people do not have to be here. They can be in their office instructing their people to go out there, doing their jobs. They don't have to sit here for 4 or 5 hours. That's done. We've had many reports from Latowski and the other guys and girls. They don't have to sit out here. I want my free speech. It's just like this letter here. If I bring this up now, I'll get in trouble because it's about your phone call with MEC and APCO. Now, but you move this. Now, see, if I don't have time to present this, which I've had it over there at Ryan Eflin's office since July with no action, you wouldn't know that. You'd already voted on it, and you wouldn't know this information. You can't make a vote without all of the information, and you will not get it if you move me to the end of the meeting. You've already voted on it. Latowski does not have to sit here. It's not doing anything. We've had the, heck, I've been using teledoctors since 2012 at the VA. This is not something new. This is old, and you finally got it here last year. What the heck you been doing? It's not a new thing. It's an old thing. 2012 was the first time I called from Eureka, California, down to San Francisco to talk to a cancer doctor. I didn't have to travel 300 miles one way. So you have the ability to have Latowski and the other people here talk to you. So don't use that as an excuse that these people are ruining half their day by sitting out here. I have something to say, and I want to say it, and I feel it's my right to say it. 14 seconds you can have.
Thank you. Jennifer Esposito, then James Jones, and then Sean Meisner.
Jennifer Esposito, Kingman. Okay, this is getting old. You've already taken away our right to comment on the consent agenda items unless we discuss them during call to the public, which is supposed to be before the consent agenda. If you move the call to the public to the end, then you've completely suppressed our right to speak on the consent agenda items because you have a rule, not a law, but a rule. Now, Mr. Beffert is right. A lot of this started during COVID, but I'd like to point out it goes farther back. You know, I believe that when Watson and the rest of those questionable people were on the board, they tried to get rid of call to the public altogether. I think they arrested people, don't wear this shirt, don't do this thing, don't wear a hat that says something we don't like, right? There's a long-standing history of trying to suppress free speech. But during COVID, you literally proposed permanently banning people, and yes, you, little Travis, that was you, banning people from speaking if you didn't like what they said. Like, granted, I'm probably more well familiar with open meeting law than those of you who have been required to take classes on it. And yes, you can put it anywhere you like. And even as chairman next year, Travis, you can sit up there and rearrange the agenda. But you know what those of us who aren't working can do? We can sign up to speak for every single item on the agenda. I'm pretty sure I can filibuster for 3 minutes on any subject whatsoever. So if you think that you're going to shorten the meeting by moving call the public to the end, you are sorely mistaken. And the fact that you think that it's more important to send employees off to do something else than to listen to the people that you purport to represent is reprehensible. Okay? As Scotty pointed out, these people can sit in their office, they can call it in, do it all the time. Lobbyists, the rest of these people, they don't have to be here physically. Oh, it's more important to prioritize the time of the bureaucracy than the constituency. That's the message you send if you vote to put this at the end of the meeting. Now, granted, this is the last meeting of the year, and, you know, a couple of you lame ducks, ho, 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 can't wait to see you go, don't have anything to lose in this. And you're basically putting this in place before a new board is sworn in. I think you should let them make that decision and live with the outcome of it. That's just my opinion. Not that you guys ever really pay attention to my opinion. But this is just another maneuver to suppress and chill the speech of the people who take their time. They have to sign up by 9:30. These meetings have been known to go to 5 p.m. So you're asking them to sign up at 9:30 and sit here all day? Well, if you're going to make me do that, I'll filibuster. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want a clarification. You can sign up for a consent agenda item. We have a few today. So that was just some bad information. Next up is James Jones, and then Sean Meisner.
Good morning, Board of Supervisor and all comrades. This is just another ploy. Lingenfelder, you're a good guy. I know you are. I know you got a good brain on your head, but you're not thinking about the people. You're not thinking America first. The people want to say something, and it's important to get across to you guys some of the opinions that we all might have. We make mistakes. You make mistakes. What's happening here today is really kind of a move to just forget about what the people have to say. But the people that are here to change maybe a zoning or something like that, they're only in this room for their personal problem. They're not looking at the big picture like we are. We that come here on a steady basis, we want to bring our country back to a constitutional republic, the de jure republic. That's what America First is all about. The First Amendment is the most important issue on this agenda. Yes, we use the word may. You know what? You can just cancel it all you want. Cancel it totally. Don't let the public speak. Show who you really are. Show us you are really American people that care about what the people have to say, because we have some ideas, and you can learn from them. We're not out here trying to be hard-nosed and put you down, okay? And you do really tick us off a lot of times because you don't want to listen. So it's a give and take for all of us. If we all work together and build our country at the county level, we can have unity. Remember that word, unity. I don't want any hard feelings between any of us. And we disagree about a lot of things, because I look at government a whole lot differently than a conservative does. A conservative thinking is a moderate thinking. It's only about moderations of thinking. I go way beyond that. So we're going to have a dialogue. We're going to have some sort of ideas that we can do things and work together and build this community back to what it should be. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Jones? This is an item I'd like to ask you some questions.
Certainly.
First of all, I want to say that I respect your opinion, and I'm thankful that you're here to talk. I want to tell you why I put this on. So my district, District 1, goes all the way up to the Washington County-Utah border, and it's 65% of Mojave County. I put this on not to save the staff's time, because they're on the clock. They're going to get paid no matter what. I'm here putting this item on because we have people in Mojave County that pay a fee for business processes, and this is primarily a business meeting. And they come all the way from Centennial Park, Cane Beds, Colorado City, Beaver Dam, Scenic, Littlefield, Havasu, some of these other areas, and they're required to be here because they have paid a fee for an official county business process, and they have to have an official county business determination. And I think that their time as a business process is just as important because those people, they want to get back to work too, right? And they have to be here because a lot of times if you've watched the P&Z meetings or if you've watched a county board of supervisors meeting and you're not here to answer questions about your business item and your land use determination item or whatever it is, your item either gets postponed because we have questions and they can't be answered, or it gets denied. So in fairness to those people and those business processes, that's why I said we're going to get to those things first. We're all on the same side. I think that we are all America first. We all care about free speech and the First Amendment passionately. And this doesn't change free speech. Yes, it puts it at the bottom of the meeting, but I reached out to all of our cities, many cities. The city of Lake Havasu recently put their call to the public at the end of the meeting, and it's working out fine if you ask them. We don't have a time limit on our call to the public. We'll sit here for hours. Bullhead City, they actually have a time limit where they only have a certain amount of people that are able to speak. We don't have that. I'll sit here all day and listen to people and their items and what they want to talk about. And it doesn't matter if it's at the beginning of the meeting or the end of the meeting. I'm going to stay here for the whole time. So it's just in fairness to the people that have paid a fee, a business fee for a process to get a land use determination or something, that they have to be here. And they don't have to sit here all day because they want to get back to work too. That's why I put it on. Did you have any questions about that?
I see it's a mindset misunderstanding, and we can't stand here and all day long and try and figure it out. We'll have to sit down sometime and talk about it.
I'd welcome that.
Because money doesn't come before freedom, okay? Money doesn't, or the love of money, doesn't make things happen, okay? The people that are spending their money and coming here to start a business should not have priority over the people, because when they're sitting there listening to the people before they get their business done and take off, they might need to know what's really going on. Because I didn't know what was going on in this Board of Supervisors meetings until I started coming here. More people need to do that, because my interest was, how's the system work? Who's who, what's what is really going on? And I see some real fallacies in the system. I've already expressed them this year. Next year, maybe I'll express them again. It's real important that we get it together, because we have a lot of problems. They're simple to fix. It just takes everybody on the same mindset. So a conservative mindset is, let's take care of business first.
And that's what I'm proposing, is that we take care of the business first.
I understand that.
And we do encourage everybody to come and attend. Those that have business, they can stay the whole meeting, and we encourage that. We encourage people to come to the meeting. If they can't come to the meeting, we also encourage them to watch it online, because we want that participation. I think we're on the same page.
I think pretty much so we are. The problem is timing. I think that we need to work that out, and I think that's why the people are kind of resisting today of what's going on. Is we want business, we want expansion, but we want it done correctly. We want it done in such a manner that nobody gets hurt, okay? Yeah. Over expanding, overdoing things, that's another subject, but this subject right here is very important to the people, to get a lot of things off their chest. There's a lot of people out there that don't come in here because they're so mad they don't even vote, and that's sad to me. I think our country is headed in the wrong direction, and it starts right here in the county. That each and every one of us need to find out or look into what can we do to change this. Yeah. Well, we have to bring a united front together.
The last thing I would say is I would echo your point that the freedom of speech is more important than money. That's absolutely true, and we're not taking that away. Everybody in Mojave County may not care about everything that the county does, but everybody in Mojave County cares at least about something or a few things that Mojave County does. And to do those services, we have to have money to run those services. So that doesn't place it on the level of being more important than freedom of speech, but we do have to have money to operate. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we have Sean Meisner, and then last, Jeff Esposito.
Chairman, Board, Sean Meisner, Kingman, Arizona. Nice to see you all. I'm going to tread lightly because I have an application in with the county. This is the second time I've been here to speak on this. Last time Travis put this on the agenda, you weren't here. I was speaking to wherever you were.
I didn't put this on the agenda.
You didn't put this on the agenda? Who did?
This is the first time I put this on the agenda.
Sorry, I spoke last time against this. Representing 41% of District 1's voters, I'm certainly against moving the call to the public to the end of the meeting. What's the reasoning behind this? Last time it was the strip not being able to come down in time. If it moves to the end of the meeting, everybody's going to have to wait and watch this whole meeting, and they're going to be really pissed off by that point. Wouldn't you like to take your whooping at the beginning of the meeting? I would if I was a supervisor. Moving the call to the public will burden the strip and the rest of the county, at least in the morning. The public knows when it will be if the public would have to sit through the whole meeting. Let's not burden the people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jeff Esposito.
Unbelievable, but believable with you people. Why don't you talk to your people up on the Northern Strip and tell them that you'll put them up first? Their agenda's up first. I'm sure the people for call to the public will, hold off for like an hour. And it's surreal. It's surreal. Coming here at 9 o'clock to sign up to speak, and you want me to sit here all day. I pay your salary, mister. Did you know that? Unreal. I will be speaking at every agenda item and every public hearing. I will take all 3 minutes. I will do my research and speak all 3 minutes. Today it's 14 plus call to public, so that's 15 times 3, that's 45 minutes of you people, and I use that term lightly on a few of you, to look at my face. And you too. Bedford was actually right. Bureaucrats. Sickening.
Okay, then. That's all that's signed up. Supervisor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I explained the rationale, and I would open it up to the rest of the board. And if there is no discussion, I would make a motion.
Second. Motion.
I'd motion to approve an amendment to the Mojave County Board of Supervisors Rules of Order by placing the call to the public at the end of the Board of Supervisors agenda to ensure timely handling of all required official public hearings and business items while allowing the public to participate in the call to the public.
Second. Okay, I need a second. Do we have a second?
Madam Chairman, I will second with an explanation.
Okay.
Okay, I've listened to what Supervisor Lingenfelter said, and I've also listened to the speakers that came down to the podium. I think it is important that we take care of the county business, and if we take care of that county business first and move the call to the public to the end, the future board can change that if it doesn't work out. It's a temporary thing, it's not permanent, but what I've seen most recently is the hatred and the vitriol, and people are using the call of the public just to some speak the truth, yes.
Excuse me.
Some sing karaoke songs, like Mr. Esposito came down singing "It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood." I mean, that's free speech. I appreciate that. Other people just read magazine articles they find of interest. Others yell and scream, grandstanding, or trying to get material for a podcast. So, it's all free speech, and I do believe in the Constitution, but I would not be opposed to moving this to the end of the agenda.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. Any further
Chair.
discussion? Yes, Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Every legislative body that I've been a member of, whether it was the Board of Supervisors, the City Council, the State Senate, the Republican Party, the first thing that new body does is set its own rules. We essentially, 3/5 of this body will not be here after the first of the year. I feel that it's inappropriate for this board to set the rules for that next board. The next board can set its own rules. This should have waited until then. I'm okay eating my spinach first. It gets it out of the way. I don't really want to deal with it at the end of the meeting because I'm mentally tired at the end of the meeting. I'd rather go ahead and do it up front. But more so, this is, you're setting rules for a different legislative body that 3/5 of us will not be a part of. So I cannot support this motion. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any other? Supervisor Johnson, we ready to vote?
I'm ready. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear?
Very mute.
Yeah, we
Can you
hear
hear me?
very little.
Can you hear me, Madam Chair? Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I'm going to take a roll call.
Supervisor Lingenfelter,
Yes.
Supervisor Johnson,
Yes.
Supervisor Bishop,
Yes, but I'd like it noted that the supervisor-elect, Don Martin, sent a text message saying that he's against moving it, but so when he's sitting in my chair, he can reverse this vote.
Okay.
Supervisor Gould,
No.
and Chairman Angus.
I'm going to explain my vote. This call to public has been at the top of our discussions I've been here for 12 years. When I took office in 2013, we had no call to public. The board before did not have a call to public, and I sat there while I was running, and I would, go and sign up for things I could sign up for, but I thought it was important. And so the first thing, in the first day of 2013, the new board put in the call to public, and I've been proud of it. Do I think it's been misused? Yes. But we've gone through this. 3 of us are on the way out, and I agree with Supervisor Gould. I do not think this board should be making this decision for the next board. So with that in mind, I'm going to vote no.
The motion passes 3-2.
Okay, now we're going to go to the current call to public. And I want to read this again. A public body may make an open call to the public during a public meeting, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. Okay, first up, Armin Stang. Again, I think it's the same people. We can go in order.
Chairman, Supervisors, Armin Stang of Fort Mojave, AKA the German. I just wanted to thank the Road Department and Development Services, what they did this year, and especially Latowski from Public Works. He graded the road after I complained about the dust, but it didn't help it. It made more dust. So, I mean, I don't know what to do about the road anymore. You know, the dust control needs to be done. I can't even leave a door open without having an inch of dust in the house within the next day. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Armin. Jennifer Esposito, and then Jeff Esposito.
Good morning again. Jennifer Esposito, candidate for District 4 County Supervisor 2028. Living rent-free in multiple people's heads for the next 4 years. At the last meeting, the overpaid county manager gave out some phony Crystal Awards, more phony than the person who was photographed receiving one, and I really hope those weren't paid for with taxpayer money. You know, Wilma, I'm not sure if you have a fireplace or a mantle at home to put it on, but I'm sure I have an idea about where you can put yours. This, right here, this is your legacy. The COVID shutdown. The 200 businesses that were referred for complaints, that were investigated, that were harassed. The lawsuit the county had to settle out of court against Blondie's Restaurant in Havasu for your legacy of tyranny. The declaration of an emergency without a single case of COVID, not one, in Mojave County in order to get a hold of ARPA money and other federal funds. You're not an expert. You might sit on the county health advisory board or whatever, but you don't know a thing. Huge congressional report says, you guys got it wrong. You know who got it right? We, the people, got it right. We came to this board and we stood here and we told you that masks didn't work, that social distancing was a children's science experiment, that the vaccine was an untested gene therapy, and that you were making guinea pigs of the citizens of Mojave County. We told you all of this, and we have been vindicated by a bipartisan committee of Congress. That is your legacy, Wilma. Tyranny. You will go down in history as the person who is, in my personal opinion, a co-conspirator to criminal acts. You can get all the accolades and the fake news. You can talk about your years of dedicated service and any other, pardon my French, bullshit you want. But this, right here, this is your legacy. And I hope God has mercy on your soul.
Okay, Jeff, did I have Jeff up before? Jeff? And then Mr. McClure. And then Greg Beffert.
Jeff Esposito, 3211 East Snavely Avenue, Kingman, Arizona, 86409. Let's see, 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Well, let's see here. Know this, that in the last days, perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God or even humanity, having a form of godliness but denying its power. And from such people turn away, for this sort are those who creep into households and make captives of gullible women, loaded down with sins, led away by various lusts, always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. You people chose to do things and put things into effect over the last year that are just either absurd, immoral, absurd as in you bring your chickens to a rooster if you want chicks. Wilma, I mean, how stupid are you? All right, so I would say that you've shown your true colors, Travis. And Buster, you are a good reason for term limits. Um, 34 seconds, huh? Well, let's see here. You guys need to think about four seconds. 1 second.
Okay, Mr. McClure, and then Greg Beffert.
Go ahead and start it, because I'm not going to say anything for 3 minutes. Oh, Ron, can you pull number 7? I guess I lied. I can't believe this, that you guys, thank you, Hildy, for, I thought you were,
I'll come back next week when it's more calm and positive people.
what?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't either.
Okay, continue.
Huh?
Continue.
I can't hear you, Hildy.
Continue with your, whatever you want to say.
Sound like protest.
This letter, and it's about you on your phone with AEC, and I heard your excuse of having this. This sat in his office since July. There's no stamp on it or anything. I cannot go to the grand jury. Where does it say that I can't go to a grand jury, at least make a report? There was 3 pages here. I can't send it to him. I went through the county attorney. It sat there, and I asked for it back after last meeting, and here it is. It got mailed to me. There's nothing on it that said it went anywhere other than collecting dust. This was on your phone, Hildy, that county taxpayer phone. And I did not request an open records request. The Arizona Republic did. And somehow somebody gave it to me to bring it up to the taxpayers here, these people. And now I got to bring it up at the end of the meeting, I guess next time. I'm not done with this, Hildy. Anyway. I got 56 seconds to stand here and take up my 3 minutes, which I'm going to do each and every item next meeting. Want to bet? You won't be here, Hildy. You don't even live in Bullhead anymore.
Yes, I do.
You still do?
Yes, I do.
Fake address with an old.
I live here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 29 seconds. And we're going to keep doing this until the next board will change it. I'll give you 1 second.
Last but not least, Mr. Greg Beffert.
If you could put that up on the screen, please.
Can you please put the camera on? He's got something on the camera.
Supervisors, for the record, Greg Beffert from Yucca. And just so you know, I drive out here every meeting 50 miles from the middle of Santa Fe Ranch for this, to climb up your butts. Okay, this is an inconvenience for me. I'm retired, supposed to be, but I've been doing it for the benefit of the public. In addition to being a cop and being in the military, working in government for 33 years at all different levels for the state, the federal government, all of those things, I teach natural law. Those are the podcasts that you're talking about, Supervisor Bishop. Natural law, objective morality, which you people have no understanding of, none. You might understand man's law, legal law, but when it came to COVID-19 and when it came to the proclamation supporting Israel's right to defend itself, you failed with moral law. Moral law, objective morality, is your ability to distinguish the difference between a right and a wrong. And I explained what that was. You people were order followers. At the lowest level, you abdicated your willingness to consider the morality of your actions. The next level up were people that thought that they knew what was going on, but still abdicated their ability to determine right and wrong. The highest level were the people that knew goddamn well what they were doing and did it anyway. Those are the psychopaths. The people at the top of that power pyramid that I talked about before. You didn't have the legal authority, you didn't have the moral authority, you didn't have the constitutional authority to do any of the things you did. The reason we come up here, specifically me, I understand the challenges you guys have with your jobs, the nuances. You're competent people. This isn't about competency. This is about character. This is about morality that you need to consider in your decisions. Do no harm. The two pillars are the sacred feminine, do no harm, the non-aggression principle. The other one's the sacred masculine, take no crap, the self-defense principle. And you caused harm. So when you make these decisions and you do cause harm, you can expect, if you don't consider that moral implication, you can expect that people are going to be up here, me specifically, every time. So I recommend this book, Most Dangerous Superstition. It talks about statism and illegitimate belief in authority. Natural law is objective morality. If it's not right for me to do it, it's a wrong. And I can't take a wrong and magically give it to government and turn it into a right. That isn't how it works. Stay in your lanes.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for cold public. I'm going to close the cold public. Any comments from the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Supervisor Johnson.
I just want to make a correction. The parties stipulated during COVID when they were referring to blondies, the party stipulated to dismiss the action with each party bearing its own attorney fees and costs. Any costs that were spent for attorney fees were our own attorneys to defend the county's actions against the ridiculous complaint that was dismissed. We didn't spend any money on a lawsuit.
Thank you, Supervisor Johnson. Supervisor
Madam Chair.
Lingenfelter.
Thank you. Again, regarding the COVID pandemic, I wasn't on this board till 2021, but I was the only one on the Kingman City Council to actively be against mask mandates, and that's in the paper. And I was the only one that was downtown trying to keep our small businesses open. And when I was on this board, I was on the majority that was against any sort of business closures or mask mandates or anything like that. I just want to put that on the record.
Okay, thank you. And I will close this by saying that this act that Mr. McClure keeps accusing me of was I asked MEC to meet with the Not in My Neighborhood people as a favor to me. That was the favor, and that is what this is all about. It's ridiculous in any any body whatsoever. It's just ridiculous. So we'll move on. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to remind the public that I had no part in the COVID shutdown as a member of the Board of Supervisors. I did not vote for the emergency action. I did not vote to close people's businesses. I did not vote to make you wear masks, and I did not enforce those rules in my district. So I get lumped in with other people that did other things. I did none of those things. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to the consent agenda. Items 5 through 36. Let's see. Supervisor Bishop, you want to take anything off?
I have nothing.
Supervisor Lingenfelter?
Madam Chair, nothing today.
Supervisor Gould?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Number 11, number 13, and number 43.
43. So 7, 11.
43 is on the regular agenda.
Yeah, 43 is the regular.
Okay, I'll get that later.
Okay. Supervisor Johnson?
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Okay, and I've been asked to take item 7 off, so I need a motion to approve consent agenda items 5 through 36 minus 7, 11, and 13.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, Mr. McClure.
You don't want to complain about Rick Glettman getting on this Republican Party precinct committeeman. He's a libertarian. He will never be a Republican. Never has been, never will be. He's covering up his past. I can't find what he did there in Contra Costa County or wherever it was he was on a board or mayor or whatever. He's hiding that. California's got some new laws now that you can't look up things anymore, including the voter rolls, which I used to be able to purchase for $12.50 for the whole county. Like I say, it's just like, I remember you, Hildy, we got to appoint Republicans to these offices, these boards, like Bo Helms. He comes from Arcata, California, the second most liberal town in California behind Berkeley. Their city council is usually made up of 5 Green Party members. But he comes here to Bullhead, signs up as a Republican. I think there's a Republican Party letting in these rhinos or libertarians. They need to be vetted a little bit more. Instead of just somebody saying, oh, I want to be a Republican. This is what's wrong. Geez, old Pete. What is her name that writes all those letters to the editor? Carmen Francis. She's next probably going to be on our Republican committee. Now I'll let you have the minute in 17 seconds.
Mr. McClure, can I ask you a question? Mr. McClure, are you a PC for the Republican Party?
Not in this county.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I make a motion that we approve item 7. I make a motion that we approve item 7.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 11, this is to approve a contract, printing and mailing of election materials with Runback Election Services. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. A member of the public wanted this removed. I assume to speak to it.
Who's that? You know who? Did somebody want to speak to? Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Angus, Supervisor Gould. My issue is with Runbeck being the source to mail out directly from their Phoenix facility all of the able ballots, the active early voting list people, because we have encountered some issues where people who have been put on the list where they're no longer active have mysteriously come back on that list. If everyone had actually watched the hand count roadshow in Mojave County, the gentleman that put that on explained that, and this board voted to outsource our real-time voter database. So we're giving our data to two East Coast companies. They're giving it to Runbeck. Runbeck is mailing ballots to whoever is on that list, which can be easily actually changed in real time. I just think that there's been a lot of issues with Runbeck. We don't need to rehash 2020, but I imagine with an incoming administration at the federal level, we may do that. But I just question the wisdom of renewing the contract now at this time without thoroughly considering the ramifications of handing this over to outside parties who may not have our best interest at heart. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on that?
Chair?
Yes.
I've got some questions for both Recorder Durst, if she could come up to the podium, and also maybe Procurement Director Acton. Thank you very much. Earlier in the year, we had spoken about this, and I've had discussions with both of you, and you had some great ideas and suggestions, maybe a perforated tab or something on the ballots, and it was talked about perhaps Mojave County, there was an opportunity for us to go out, write our own scope of services on a cooperative basis, and actually go out and competitively solicit a Mojave County contract for these services, and maybe, create some of your ideas, incorporate some of your ideas into that. From my discussions with both of you, I mean, there's a possible special election that's coming up, right? That has to do with the state level and the schools, and if they're going to get funding or not. Do you want to maybe explain the rationale why we're extending this? And I think that there's still an opportunity for Mojave County to go out with its own contract, is there not?
Thank you, Supervisor Linkerfelter, Chairman Angus. So on the contracting side of things, we are actively working on an RFP process. The reality is we were in the middle of an election. That was not the time to build scope and figure out how do we do a national contract. We are planning to do this as a cooperative contract. We do need to have the scope enough that it meets our needs, but that it would be useful as a cooperative contract for other agencies to use. We've started that process, but Recorder Durst can speak to the election. With the potential of an election in May, there's no way that we will have a contract in place in time to run the May election. So our ask of renewing this contract is primarily to deal with that potential election in May, with the expectation that the county will have an awarded contract. Now, Runbeck may be the one selected. I don't know. We have to go through that process, but it's just a matter of us meeting the immediate need for the potential election in May while we work towards a countywide cooperative contract.
Thank you, Director Acton. And since you're standing there, do you want to just give us a brief overview for people, what is the special election? Because I think some people still don't understand that.
So the special election will be for Prop 123. It is sunsetting July, which is FY25. We are hoping it will be called within the first week of legislation opening, which opens on January 13th, but we are not sure at this time if we'll be having the election. So for Runbeck services, Runbeck only does what our county tells them to do. We send them all the reports of who's getting a ballot by mail, and they're the ones that then send that. the ballot has to be assigned to the voter in the Avid system for Runbeck to send it, so they don't get to pick and choose who's getting a ballot or who's not getting a ballot.
And the election is basically, has to do with school funding and state trust lands, is that correct?
That's correct, and it would be statewide. We don't know if the state will call it for an all-mail election or if it would be a regular in-person election as well.
Appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Madam Recorder, that raises a question. I don't know that can the legislature call an all-mail election?
I don't know that they can necessarily. They really should call it's by law to call an election by 210 days before election day. I don't know that they can make it all mail for a whole state. I don't
think they have the
so.
authority to do that, but
Is that, is that on Supervisor?
which would not put it into the general election cycle. And so it would effectively just be for that particular special election.
Just to get us through 2025, and we'll have an RFP by the end of it.
And it may not be 1, 2, 3. I believe 1, 2, 3 was what it was several years back, so it'll be whatever number they choose to assign it. Since they were too busy putting 11 other items on the last ballot to put this one on there, and they haven't even negotiated this deal, they're going to have to go into a special session to do it, because otherwise they need an emergency clause to do it. Otherwise, the effective date wouldn't be until 90 days of the expiration of the election. They actually have to call a special, get the governor to call a special session, and they got to come up with a deal also.
Right, and our current Runbeck contract was expiring on January 5th, so we just wanted to get this in place prior. If an election is called, hopefully it would be soon, because our 90-day notices would have to be sent out to all voters February 7th.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, Supervisor Johnson, can you put mute on, please? Okay. What? Okay, we'll just keep going unless it gets.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You can't hear me? It was on. This number 13 is to approve, well, we got to do something. I know, we are too. My mic? No, it's not. No, it's not.
We don't know where it's coming from, but when we muted your mic, it went away, so we might have to.
Tuck into that one.
How about I just let the vice chair finish the meeting?
Probably talk into the other mic.
Well, you can. Yeah, how about this one? Is this one better? No, this one. Hello? Can this one's better? Well, thank you. Technical difficulty there, but anyway, this item 13 is about a contract for Indigent Defense Services, Department Title 36, Managed Care. Supervisor Gould?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm just curious what this item is about.
I can answer that if you wish.
Works for me.
So Title 36 is the services where somebody receives involuntary treatment because they suffered from a mental illness. When somebody suffers from a mental illness, and if they're a danger to themselves or danger to others or persistently or acutely disabled, and they're unwilling and unable to do treatment on a voluntary basis, then the county can petition them to receive treatment. And so what happens is there's a process before that order can take place where they have to do evaluations. They have to do an evaluation by 2 doctors, a nurse, and a social worker. And then based on that evaluation, we'll determine whether the county will go forward with the petition. That process costs money, and so this contract is to pay for that services leading up to that order. So it's the process of getting the evaluation, of having the patients inpatient for a period of time up until that court order for treatment is entered. So that's the whole process. It's mandated by statute. We have to provide these services. For the county attorney's office, I'm the one that's responsible for the Title 36 docket. And so I see all these cases, everyone that comes through, and we've had a really good relationship with this agency that's been handling this. I'll tell you, Blake Schroeder handles this and manages this contract. He does a fantastic job where he watches it very closely and making sure that the costs are appropriate, making sure the costs are consistent with the terms of the contract. And if he's online, he can answer these questions much better than I can. But that's essentially what this contract is about.
Madam Chairman, Attorney Esplin, no, you've cracked the code for me, so I've got it figured out. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can everyone hear me with this? Okay. All right, that brings us to our public hearings. I'm going to open the public hearing for item 37, discussion and possible action to approve the adoption of Board of Supervisor Resolution number 2024-243, a resolution for rescission of Board of Supervisor Resolution number 2018-041, and revert the zoning for a portion from an MX heavy manufacturing back to residential recreation 10-acre minimum lot size zone with an ES solar overlay. And this is in the Mojave Valley vicinity. We do have people signed up. We will start with Tyler Carlson. Since you're the applicant, you want to go first? Okay.
Madam Chair, Supervisors, thank you for the opportunity. We do have a presentation, but I think I'm going to try to shorten up that whole presentation some. We have over time been able to demonstrated the need for this particular project. We are on the market for 30 megawatts. We've got intermittent resources, solar, wind, batteries that we have to back up, and we have little over 35 megawatts for future. And we are growing, and our area is growing. When we first started this and Site A was approved, it was asked if we could look at different locations. We did go to different locations. I'm not sure how to control this. I'm really terrible with... all right, I got it here. And... I'll get to it, sorry. We first went to this location, then we were asked to actually look for other locations. We looked for other locations, including in the far eastern service territory along the corridor along I-40. There's a large pipeline there, but it's fully committed, no gas available. We eventually went through a series of processes. We found Site D, which is in the desert, already disturbed land, private property, and that Site D was approved with this condition of us releasing Site A. So that's what we're here to do, is ask to make sure the Site A is released. Thank you very much, and I'm here for any questions.
This is a public hearing. If there's any, we'll call you back up.
Thank you.
Patrick Ledger. And then Rich Templeman.
Good morning. I'm Patrick Ledger. I'm the CEO of Arizona Electric Power Cooperative. I'm here to support the rezoning of Site A. I'm here on behalf of the our Board of Directors. Our directors are folks that represent rural cooperatives and public power folks throughout the state. We are developing a number of new both solar and gas facilities. This is one of them to support the Mojave area. We have invested over $90 million in this project. We think this is an appropriate site. We've gone through all of that detail with you, and we appreciate the support and the approval that you provided in rezoning section, Site D. So obviously support the rezoning on A as a condition. And we look forward to being a long-term partner with Mojave County.
Thank you. Richard Templeman, and then Kelly Refvim. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Very good. Kelly Refvin, and then Norma Ostrander. Sorry about that.
Yes, good morning. I'm Kelly Revem, 2631 Alternate Drive in Fort Mojave. I've been up here and spoke on several occasions in opposition to this project, primarily based on location and the proximity to population and homes. With the new proposed Site D, I believe they have met the things that we were asking for as our citizens group and neighbors. And I'm now here in support of the rezone and the moving to Site D. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Norma Ostrander, and then Mac McKeever.
Good morning, Board. I just would like to say I would like you to rescind and approve this and have a happy holiday.
Thank you very much. Mac McKeever, then Don Matson.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, fellow members of the Board of Supervisors. Mac McKeever, 6090 Shelby Road, Fort Mojave. I want to start out by thanking the Board of Supervisors and Planning and Zoning for continuing to follow this. It's been a long year. I know that it's been a lot for you folks to keep up with this. It's been a lot on us, but I'm here today in support of rezoning this parcel. I want to thank MEC and EPCO for their efforts. They promised us a year ago they would continue to look. They did that. They kept the communications open with me and my group to allow me to pass that on. And just want to again say thank you, and we are definitely in support of rezoning this parcel.
Thank you, Mr. McKeever. Don Matson, and then Scotty McClure.
Good morning. My name is Don Matson. I live at 2611 Mayra Street, Fort Mojave. I represent Mac's group. The group that is approximately a quarter of a mile from Site D, we are in full support of rezoning this area back to agriculture. Thank you.
Yes, that's Site A you meant. Yes, thank you. Scotty McClure, and then Jeff Esposito.
Scotty from Bullhead. This outage would have lasted just as long, no matter where you put it, except that if it had been put in Bullhead, these peaker plants. In certain areas up there, the electric would have been back on right away. All the poles are out on the parkway, so if they had it, like say, Landon Drive and the parkway, they have a yard there already. How about down with the garbage plant where they burn every day? Got room down there for a peaker plant. How about Silver Creek Road and Mojave, where you're going to the mine? There's nothing but federal government land out there. And this is in Bullhead, all of these places. How about across from the college? West of there. There's 200 and something acres there. They can build 10 peaker plants. And boom, they already have the plant going down the road anyway. Why isn't the city council from Bullhead here? Oh, not in my backyard. Tell you what, if you made them put it in their backyard, they'd be here. Oh, wait a minute, I still got 155 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you. Jeff Esposito, I'm sorry. Habit.
Jeff Esposito, 3211 East Kingman, or East Snavely Avenue, Kingman, Arizona, 86409. Agenda item number 37, rezoning. This whole episode with these companies and has been a nightmare because of a few of you on the board. I was going to agree with this proposition, but I think I'll speak out against it, just to be obstinate like you, Hildy. So, unfortunately, I've only taken up a minute, but I've made my point.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, come on down.
Thank you, Chairman Angus. Unlike a lot of people, I actually stood on this property and made the effort to go out and investigate it. And, you know, the reality is this was a mistake to begin with because there were stipulations put on a previous owner. It's not the fault of the current owner. My issue with this, it has to be reverted. I mean, that's the right thing to do, but my issue is reverting it with the solar overlay because recently the board decided that solar overlays could only go in heavy industrial. So you're reverting it back to agricultural, but you're adding in the solar overlay, and I'm just wondering if there is any kind of a conflict because I'm not sure that would automatically be grandfathered in or not grandfathered in. It's adjacent to a parcel that is covered in Chinese solar panels because they're all Chinese. And the solar overlays are basically a subsidy for China. And as someone who has solar in a limited capacity and who has written an off-the-grid column is quite familiar with it, solar's not very efficient. It's really not great. But my issue is not in reverting it back to the agricultural, but the ramifications of the solar overlay in light of the previous decisions of the board about where solar could and could not go. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Does the board want to hear from anybody? Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you. In regards to the question that was posed, this parcel, this is actually just a portion of a parcel. It's as part of a lot larger parcel that had previously received the energy overlay zone. By rescinding this zoning, the MX zoning, the parcel would revert back to that energy overlay. When we did the ordinance for the new energy zones, we made it a condition in that ordinance that all previously zoned energy overlays would stay in place. This one is just a portion of that parcel, and so by taking away the manufacturing zoning on this small portion of that larger parcel, it would go back to that energy overlay as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. I'm going to open the public hearing for item 38. Open public hearing. Discussion and possible action to recommend approval of a bingo license received by the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 404. Do I have anybody? Let's see. Oh, I do have someone signed up to speak. Jeff Esposito. Hold on. Mr. Esposito, do you want to speak to the bingo application?
Jeff Esposito, 3211 East Snavely Avenue, Kingman, Arizona, 86409. Public hearing, agenda number 38. I'm a vet, so of course I'm going to agree with allowing them to have bingo. I don't understand why you people or anyone thinks that they have a right to limit freedom. Why do we have to have a license to play bingo? Oh, is it so that you can make money? Probably. I wholeheartedly support this, but you need to stop all the licenses. There should be no licenses. And I'll give you a minute, 50 seconds.
Thank you. All right, that's all I have signed up. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I close the public hearing.
Motion. Madam Chair,
Yes, Supervisor Johnson.
the county has no business license.
He said the county does not have business licenses. Thank you. All right, we have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're to the regular agenda. This was brought by Procurement Director. This is to approve a revised project budget under the award of contract number 2025-019-IFB, Mountain View Road drainage mitigation and roadway improvements.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion in favor. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 40. Okay, well, he made the motion right before, so we'll go on. Item 40, discussion and possible action to approve a revised project budget under the award of contract number 24-B-06, Horizon 6 waterline replacement. This is reducing the contingency by $100,000.
Madam Chair, a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. I do have Mr. Esposito signed up. If you're going to talk to would you please at least sit in front so it could, please?
Front phobia.
Jeff Esposito, 3211 East Snavely Avenue, Kingman, Arizona, 86409. You didn't allow me to speak at number 39, so I'm filing a complaint. Now, agenda item number 40, I wholeheartedly agree with it because, someone is trying to save some money here. I appreciate that. And out of respect for these poor people in the audience, I'm going to leave.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion. We're on item 40, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I seconded Supervisor Bishop's.
Yeah, motion, and there is a second, correct? Okay. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion possible action number 41, sitting as the Board of Directors for the Golden Valley Improvement District. This is to approve the award for GVID well number 2 replacement to Fan Environmental from Prescott, Arizona. All right. I got Ms. Esposito coming down.
Thank you, Jennifer Esposito, 3211 East Snavely Avenue, Kingman 86409. See how fast I said that? Okay, the reason that I oppose this at this time is not because I don't want to see the project completed, but it's because this board has repeatedly failed to account for the money. On December 5th of 2022, you reallocated the KP Ventures well money. And that means that you took, and I've asked for this to be accounted for multiple times with no answer whatsoever, but you asked for the $562,000, over $500,000 of GVID money that had been previously allocated was reallocated to this project in December of 2022. Then you reallocated more ARPA money, which should have covered the project. So what you're asking to do now is to move around some remaining ARPA money, but leave us, the people in the GVID who own property there, who either buy water directly through GVID or through the standpipe or third-party purchaser, you're asking us to absorb the cost without accounting for the $562,000 you swept into the project. So given that after this item, there are multiple items on this agenda to reshuffle around remaining ARPA funds, I don't think the people of GVID should be on the hook for the portion that you're proposing when you can't account for the over $500,000 of our money that's like missing, at least without, I lost it off my phone. I believe that's the correct amount, $562,000. But regardless of how much it is, there's unaccounted money that I've repeatedly asked to be accounted for this project. Moreover, if this project had been done properly, when it was the KP Ventures well, a pump house and all of the things would have been engineered at that time. Had that been done, had the engineering been done, it would not be costing the ratepayers of GVID any additional funds at all. This whole thing should have been done together. I mean, that's how a responsible project is engineered. You engineer the entire project. There should have been a pump house and everything to accompany the well that's already been drilled, that's already completed, that's sitting there unusable because staff failed to get it done. And now you want to make the people of Golden Valley and the GVID and those people who live outside the borders and still have to use the standpipe, you want to take it out of that money. So on that particular issue, I take issue. I think that until you can account for the missing money from 2022, and you are the board for GVID, it's your responsibility, I think you better find the ARPA money from some of the unspent other ARPA money and make sure that none of this comes out of the GVID account. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. Esposito. The 560 or so dollars that you're speaking of that's unaccounted for.
Yes.
So that was the money from the original KP Ventures drill?
Yes, it was, and I will pull it up for you because I do have it on here. It's just my phone tends to reset the Facebook thing. It's posted to the Golden Valley Improvement District page, GVID. There was an agenda item, and it was on, I believe, the December 5th meeting of 2022. And you canceled the KP Ventures, and it and the item was passed. And what you did was you reallocated, okay, I've got it on here. I think it was it agenda item 39? But you reallocated the funds. Originally, when the well project, the drilling of a new well, an additional well 5, well 3, it's changed names several times. There was a certain amount allocated. The well was estimated, I think, to be about $1 million because the well, when it failed, or whatever, it was bid at much less than $1 million. But there was a certain amount of ARPA funds committed to that, and there was a certain amount of GVID funds. And then when that whole thing went south in December of 2022, before the rate increase, the board voted to reallocate those funds to the new project. So when the board, I think it was May of 2023, yeah.
So that was the ARPA money and the $560,000 of GVID money?
Right.
And that we reallocated that to the new project?
Yes. And so it was a total of, I found it, it was a total of $1.7 million. It was $562,900 of GVID money, and it was a request for board action. And because at March 16th of 2022, funding was allocated for the Well 3 project. And so in 2023, when the county, when the board said, oh, well, we need to fund the project, I brought it up then. I brought it up before the last rate increase, and I brought it up after, and I brought it up repeatedly. Where is the $562,900 that was reallocated? Was it money moved on a ledger? Was it money put in a bank account? But money was allocated of GVID funds for this, and to the best of my knowledge, not one penny of that money has actually been spent on this current project.
So that's the question: is what happened to the $563,000?
Yes, because this current proposal is asking for GVID to pony up additional money to complete the project, and we don't know where the money is that was allocated to complete the project.
Okay, we'll see if Tara's got an answer for us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman, Supervisors. If you read agenda, or the page 1 of the agenda communication memo, it accounts for the $562,900 in funds in addition to ARPA that were allocated for the entire project. So in preparing this agenda item and talking about the moving of ARPA funds and additional funds, we went through the entire history of the project, of what was available from GVID, what was allocated from ARPA, and what was needed to complete the project. So just reading the very first paragraph, on December 5th, 2022, the board authorized reallocation of District 4 ARPA funding totaling $937,010 with the balance of $562,900 in funds necessary, establishing an approximate $1.5 million project budget sourced to the previously appropriated and unspent GVID funds from the project. And so at the start of this, those funds have been used. I'm scrolling through. There were a couple of contracts that were awarded prior to us using ARPA funds that were not ARPA compliant. So approximately, I think it was $85,000 worth of expenses were done. It looks like $88,000 total was awarded using GVID funds. The remainder up to this point has been using ARPA funds. The summary that I provided to you that has the breakdown of all of the funding talks about we've spent 1.3 or committed 1.399 million to date for projects under this, including funding from GVID and funds from ARPA, and that the remaining balance is what we've provided to you, including an additional transfer from GVID. So there's $164,848 in previously programmed funds from GVID, $65,000 increased contribution to the project from the GVID Future Development Fund, and then what we are asking for is simply a $69,000 transfer from GVID Operations. The total contribution to complete the project would be $299,294 from GVID. The remaining balance would come from ARPA funding.
So, Ms. Esposito, does that answer your question? And I agree, mistakes were made, but we need to move forward with this, and we do have a timeline to move forward. If we don't do it at this meeting, it will not go. I contributed money from my share of the ARPA money also, because I love the people of GVID as much as I love my own folks.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 40.
43.
Well, we're done. We did 42 at the beginning, so 43. Approve and authorize chairman to sign a request for proposal for the intergovernmental agreement for high-risk prenatal program community health services. Yes.
Good morning. This is for our high-risk perinatal program. It is for the babies that have been in NICU for 5 or more days, and families are referred by the providers.
Okay.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I had a question, Ms. Palmer. It's talking about counseling the mothers also.
It provides
pregnant
education.
Women. So the title of it is somewhat deceptive.
Well, when you're dealing with a NICU baby, you're also helping out the mothers during that time. So it's providing any type of support for the mothers.
But this would predate their child being in the NICU if they're pregnant women. They have not yet given birth. At least from reading the backup, it was women that were pregnant.
It should be postpartum women.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. So this is for tracking babies that come out of the NICU unit. Who qualifies for this?
It's anybody that was referred by a provider and their child was in the NICU for 5 or more days. And it's for Mojave County and La Paz County residents.
So we're doing La Paz as a service to them?
Correct.
Okay. Do we have any idea how many of these babies are drug-addicted babies?
I do not know that off the top of my head. No, we do not know that.
Do we feel if this is a major contribution to these children ending up in the NICU?
Not necessarily for these families. A lot of them, it's situations outside of their control. So the mother developed some sort of condition that caused an environment where the child had to be born early.
In the backup, it was talking about drugs also, so that was the reason I was just curious.
It could be a contributing factor, but that's not necessarily the majority of the cases within Mojave and La Paz County.
Do we track those, or we're just being anecdotal?
Nursing services manager can help with that information. I know information's collected and it's not necessarily shared department-wide because it's such a small amount of families that are served through this grant.
This is a voluntary program also.
Correct.
They're not mandated to let the government come into their home and just because the baby's been in the NICU unit.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
And as far as tracking, we do not track those numbers of the rationale behind the baby being referred to the program as being drug exposed babies. When the nurse goes out there, of course, they know the rationale behind the baby being referred, but we don't have any data on that at our level.
I'm always baffled that we create these programs and then we don't track them to see whether to have any accountability. We just throw money at something and we don't try to look at what's the root cause of things.
And it's quite possible I could work on retrieving those from the state because they have a database of all the babies.
I wonder if the state, I don't want you to do it, but if the state has it, it would be, I'm interested in whether the state actually tracks it or not.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. What say you?
A motion to approve.
Motion?
Second.
Do I have second? Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 44, this is from our Chief Financial Officer, discussion possible action to approve a MOU between Mojave County and the Department of Health to obligate up to $350,000 remaining ARPA funds. Yes, sir.
Chairman Angus, board members, I wanted to speak to this item as well as item 45, 46, and 47. The same memorandum was attached as backup to all of them, but essentially, when it comes to the ARPA obligation deadline of December 31st, we basically have a difference between obligation. Obligation is largely dependent upon the internal documentation that the county maintains. And so we've had projects with external organizations. We use funding agreements to obligate funds there. So we have written documentation that both parties are agreeing that the funds will be spent in a certain way. But when it comes to the county's internally managed projects, there's a lot of more ambiguity on when funds become obligated. And so anytime that there are personnel costs involved in projects, we don't incur an obligation with personnel expenses until the employees perform the work. And so the MOUs here on these 4 items are basically a way of having in writing prior to that work being performed, appropriate documentation that the Treasury considers sufficient to obligate the funds prior to the obligation deadline. And so we basically have 4 projects, the mobile health unit, which is this item, and that is obligating up to $350,000. The next one is a procurement officer position, and this was approved as part of the FY 24-25 budget. However, the position was not filled until the beginning of Q2 of this fiscal year, and so some of those funds will roll over into next year. Next year's budget hasn't been adopted yet, so they're not technically obligated at this point. And then we also have a smaller ARPA project, the Mojave County Trails mapping. The county's going to perform some labor here. BLM was going to crush the asphalt millings that are going to be used to make an ADA approved trail, but the county will be performing the labor, and that's going to happen after the obligation deadline, so we need an MOU for that. And then the last one, and this is written as up to $3 million. We don't have $3 million left of ARPA funds to obligate. This is essentially a catch-all item, so that if for any reason any of our current ARPA projects fall through after December 31st, or if some of those 50 some odd projects that are still in progress, if they happen to finish under budget and their project savings, we have documentation in place in order to reallocate those funds, and they will basically use to offset a portion of the Sheriff's Department payroll costs, whether that's on the deputy side or whether it's in the adult detention facility. And so that is basically the rundown on all 4 of these items.
Any questions for our finance director? Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve item 44.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 45. This is what he just talked about.
Chairman Angus, motion to approve 45.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 46.
Madam Chairman, motion to approve 46.
I will second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 47.
Ditto. Motion to approve item 47.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 48 is one of my ARPA, my last ARPA. I had some little money left, and so I just want to tell everyone what Corky's House was. Corky's House, which we approved in an earlier meeting, is a home, kind of what we were talking about, the prenatal, when babies are born to women who test positive for drugs, the babies are taken away, and we won't even go into the foster system and how horrible it all is. But what's happened is the courts have had a little bit of a experimental program that reunites, if all the agencies believe that the mother is ready, that the baby is reunited in a treatment with the mother. And it has worked spectacularly well. But the problem is after leaving treatment, if there's no support, and this is just something that as a society we have to work within. And these programs are working, I'll tell you. If you want proof, you just ask me. But anyway, that's what this is. And at Corky's house, there was a pool that they had, because there are children, there was a pool that had to be covered, obviously. And so there's this big backyard that will have grass eventually. And so this will just provide some playground equipment for the children who are living there. So with that, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, you seconded it, okay. Yeah. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 49. This is a special use permit to allow for, this is to adopt the reasons for denial of Resolution 2024-237, which was a special use permit to allow for a 195-foot wireless telecommunications tower.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And last but not least, item 50, Supervisor Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maybe the assessor, I'd like to have her come up and just kind of explain how the program that she had us institute has worked out up to date. I know the assessor's office just received an award from ACO, I believe, on this.
Very good.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Board. Thank you, Buster, for putting me on the agenda. I really appreciate it. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. We're quite proud of our award. My staff really hit it out of the park with our app program, which gives you a little level of security that we're not going to have deed fraud. We had deed fraud issues coming to me constantly because people were asking me. They're seeing that it's all over the country. It's all over the state. So we came up with a solution to give them that little level of security that we're not going to have somebody stealing your property. It's volunteer. They sign up for it. There is a nominal fee because it does cost for our county to put this together and give them that security. And it looks like the state really loved it. A lot of the assessors are picking up the same program, and we got an award. And I'm really proud of it. Here it is. Here's our award. It's a Summit Award for our app program, and it looks like it's bleeding like wildfire, and it's going to go everywhere. And if there's any questions you have.
Any questions or comments? I have something. I know you worked very, very hard on this program, and this is not just a program that's going to be in Mojave County. This is going to be a statewide, which is why she won the award. And I know you've been having seminars and trainings across the state, and you've worked really, really hard. You deserve that award, so congratulations.
Thank you very much. So far, over 1,500 people in Mojave County have taken advantage of this. I get hugs in the hallways because people are so happy that there is now a solution, at least a small bit of security for themselves. A lot of these people have their homes paid off, and a lot of these people, that's all they have for assets. And the thought that somebody can come steal it it's horrific. And so we're doing everything we can in our office as well. We're taking extra steps to make certain that deeds are appropriate. Everything's on the deed as appropriate. We can't go in like the recorder's office and check everybody's signatures. So this was one of the things that we can do. And so I'm really happy
I want to
about
remind people how they can sign up for this.
They just have to come to the assessor's office, either the Lake Havasu, Bullhead, or the branch here. We have a notary here to sign them up for the program. It's only at $50, so it's really worth it. And everybody, it's between my program and the recorder's program, we are the most secure deed fraud county in the state because we have 2 programs for everybody that owns property.
And I see commercials all the time for these very expensive programs that offer pretty much the same thing.
Absolutely. There's one you hear on the radio all the time, and that's what started it. They started coming to me, and they're like, should I really sign up for it? And I thought, there's got to be a solution that we can provide, that they don't have to pay $35 a month for this deed lock or whatever it is, which really is nothing. It's not an insurance policy. It's just a notification. But that's what we're doing at a lot cheaper. We're giving them that security.
Very good. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. And thank you to my staff for doing a fantastic job, for thinking outside the box. I really think.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Assessor. So is that $50 fee, is that an annual fee or a one-time fee?
One time. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Do you account for that income as a line item budget?
It goes in the budget. We went through the finance department, and they told us how much it would cost with our staff doing what we needed to do and signing up for it and all that. So they came up with like $49 or $47 and change. So we made it at an even $50, what it costs us to actually implement the program. It's a one-time fee. Unless they move or they die, then it doesn't change.
Have you done a time study to see whether that recovers the cost of the $50 recovers the cost of doing it?
Yeah, we haven't. I was talking about my staff of that, but this next year we want to make certain, because if that didn't cost as much, I would like to bring it down, obviously. Sure. But we relied on our finance department to give those numbers.
The legislatures passed a bill to make this, is it mandatory, a shall or a may?
So the legislator passed a bill for the recorder's office for their program, and then Wendy Rogers came in and financed it because they're like, hey, we don't want a non-funded mandate here, and so they financed it for them. We were preliminary. We were before that program. In fact, Wendy saw my program, and she kind of took off of my program to create the recorder's program. Well, by that time, people understood how important it was for deed fraud. I kind of started it at the beginning, to go to the legislature and say, we have this deed fraud program and we want you to mandate it. It was a little preliminary, so we decided to do it ourselves, so we can start it and hope that this whole state does it, then they'll fund it. Believe me, I will plan on trying to get the state to fund this now that we have quite a few assessors that are taking care of it.
keep in mind that if the state funds it, the state can also sweep the funding.
That's true. That's kind of almost better
as
to
a former
secure the
sweeper,
people.
I'm aware of
Yeah, yeah, it is voluntary, so it's not, they don't have to do it, so.
Thank you, ma'am. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy New Year.
Very good. All right, well,
Madam
that,
Chair,
yes, Supervisor Johnson.
maybe Mr. Monahan can answer the question. The assessor said that they've had, I think, around 1,500 people, and was saying that the money just goes back into, I don't know, the general fund. Anytime we put a fee in, it has to be collected and accounted for. Can you tell us how much money has been collected?
Well, we've got 1,582 parcels times $50. So that's how much was collected, and it goes to the general fund.
I don't know that that's the way the statute says it's supposed to be done. I believe they're supposed to be gone into a separate account, but that's not really the problem. But even at that, you're looking at, what, 750 with a little more money, maybe, say even $1,000. Would the board be willing, because that's $50 a parcel, or $50 for all my parcels?
It would be per parcel, sir.
All right. I would like to make a motion that says that the county will not charge people for this service and give whatever assistance needed to the assessor to do the program free of charge to the citizens.
All right, that's a motion. Any discussion on that? That's kind of out of the blue. So if there is no fee, I'm going to assume everyone's going to do it. And what kind of workload will that be on your?
We're still doing the workload, right? The money doesn't come to us, so that's okay. That's wonderful for our constituents and our property owners.
How many parcels did you say that 1,500?
And 82.
82 times 50 is 79,100. So it's not a small amount of money. But we do have a motion. Do you want to add to that?
Chairman Angus, board members, I would just add that if the board decides to make this a no-fee service, we have over 250,000 parcels in the county. This is an additional service that property owners can avail themselves of for a nominal fee, and as Assessor Kinch mentioned, that fee was calculated based on the pay rates of the personnel that are involved. 250,000 parcels, if do the math, it's going to be a heck of a lot more than $70,000, and that's something the general fund cannot absorb.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Supervisor Johnson.
That's a real good one there, Mr. Monahan, but I think it's only on the parcels that are active and that people are changing title on. So it's not like that number of parcels are going to be checked by the assessor every year.
Okay.
All we're doing is protecting all the parcels in our county, hopefully from fraud under this wonderful program that's been set up. And then when somebody comes in to change a property or something, we're checking it at that time. And that'll be a few, but there probably are people that can't afford the $50. But if we have a program that works, much like everybody's in support of all these veterans courts and everything else that help people out, we should be offering this service for free.
Supervisor Johnson, I agree with you. We will get a large amount of people to sign up because possibly that $50 is now free, and that will get a lot more. Half of the job is done prior to the transfer. So once we transfer property to another property owner, we would have to call them. So then the other half of the labor would be at that point. So I don't know how the finance department would like to look at that, whether it would cost those millions of dollars because of the 250,000 parcels that we have. Are we expecting all of them to come in? Half of the cost to implement the program happens at the beginning.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I think that there is a cost of doing this. So I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with doing it across the board. However, I think that I would be open to voting for something that would be free to retirees 65 and over, free to our veterans, because we have a very high concentration of veterans in Mojave County. And if you're super low income, and I don't know what the indigency screening would be, but maybe for those people, but I'm not sure if I'm prepared to do across the board.
Ms. Kench, would we have to refund all the people who've already paid?
I wouldn't know that. It would be up to our attorney and whether he felt that if we did that.
It's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I would really, Chairman and Mr. Johnson, I would suggest that maybe we discuss this and see how we can help the other constituents. It was a fantastic plan. We implemented it. People like it. Let's go forward and try to provide it at a less cost. I think it would be fantastic, but let's do it where it's not going to be so costly, and our finance department doesn't have a problem.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
If Supervisor Johnson would be willing to amend his motion to bring something back as far as a suggestion about those folks that we might be able to help to the next board, I'd be open to that.
Supervisor Johnson, did you hear that?
I heard it. I can amend my motion to bring back within a month a discussion item regarding the removal of the fee and the covering of all parcels in Mojave County under the assessor's plan.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Second amended motion. So we have a motion and a
Before we
second.
vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Assessor, I believe the majority of what your program does is keeps people from changing the billing address for their property taxes.
Correct, sir.
Do we have the statutory authority to require that anytime someone wants to change that address, that form has to be notarized?
No, sir.
That's our rub?
The statutory authority were, can you repeat your question? I want to make sure I answer properly.
So I'm assuming that I can just mail in a form now and tell you to change my billing address to some other address.
Correct.
Correct. Do we have the statutory authority from the legislature to require that form be notarized?
No, sir, and I would love that.
If we could do that, then we could solve 99% of the problem without a cost, other than you're looking at a form for a notary stamp and signature rather than the regular form. Because I believe that's what happens, is that somebody changes the address for the taxes, then the taxes are going someplace else, and then they take legal action that way. But that actually is something that I know somebody that's going to the legislature. Maybe that is something that you might want to take up.
I think we should talk about it and see. Again, like I said, with the other assessors picking it up, and people now understand how important it is and how deed fraud is really just spreading like wildfire, that we need to do something. I like that idea. Notaries, I don't think, are the answer, because we've seen concerns over just the notary signatures as well. It's the notary. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying notaries are bad, but people abuse that as well. So I like the phone call, and I think that's what the people like the most, is the fact that we get on the phone and we call them and say, did you transfer this property? And then they tell you, yes, it was me, or no, it wasn't me, thank you. And when it was them, they said, thank you, I forgot I signed up for your program. I think we need to discuss it at the legislature and see what we can do. Maybe we can be piggybacked on Wendy Rogers' bill that she put together for the recorder's office. People need to have that security with their deeds.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to bring back some more information in a month, okay?
Chairman Angus?
Yes.
As far as the information that you want brought back in a month, I've heard a couple of different ideas, whether it's income-based or for senior citizens or veterans. Is there anything specific that you would like brought back in a month?
Supervisor, let's ask Supervisor Lingenfelter, since he'll be here.
Well, I'd prefer to leave it open-ended. You know, I mean, the thing that we're evaluating is, do we give it to everybody because there's a workload there and somebody has to pay for it, right? Or are we going to recapture some percentage of that business expense? It's up to you guys to bring something back.
We might be able to use, Chairman and Supervisor Lingenfelter, we might be able to use the programs we have now for our seniors, the information and data that we get, we might be able to tie that in as to make them approved. So that could be helpful too. I look forward to the first meeting so we can throw it all at the table.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, we do charge the people a property tax, and I think it's probably a good idea if we're charging them a property tax to protect that property that we're charging the tax on. That's all. I'm ready for the call for the question.
Okay. Anything else? We have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Same to you. So does the board have anything they wish to say? The last meeting of this year, this board?
Madam Chair, I would just like to take the public opportunity to thank Supervisor Bishop for your years of service. It's been an honor to work with you and to you as well. And also to Supervisor Johnson, who I'd be really interested to know if, where he ranks in the state as far as longest ranking or running supervisor. He's probably the longest, right? But it's been an honor to work with you, and I wish you all the best.
Okay. Anyone else?
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah.
Yes, and I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Be safe and healthy. And you'll see me again. I'll be back on the other side. But I want to thank again. I already did this, so it's a little anticlimactic. But I want to thank the staff, county manager, and my colleagues up here. It's been quite the interesting ride. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just say ditto, 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 which is my famous saying. Motion to adjourn.